Here we are, Matthew Russell Lee, Inner City Press, here at the Southern District of New York Courthouse today, Monday, September 23rd, 2024. The UN General Assembly is in town. We're going to turn to that in a moment. But first, the Trump docket. We reported Friday after we did the last vlog, a case we reported on from Nevada, well, actually in D.C. At the Supreme Court. There was a bid to get Jill Stein on the Nevada ballot. This was shot down in a very short, cursory Supreme Court order, so that is not happening. Also, later this week on Thursday will be the appeal by Trump of the $454 million Judge Engoron Trump org Letitia James verdict. So we'll be covering that, that's for sure. Also, after Friday's vlog, we put out a book. It's called Diddy Do It. Diddyddoit. Diddy Do It. You can find it on Amazon. It's actually an audio book, an ebook, etc. There was also a case, we're now zeroed in on a lot of the civil cases, and there was a filing on Friday that Team Diddy, even with Sean Combs in the MDC, is asking for a pre-motion conference to file a motion to dismiss Crystal McKinney's civil suit. I don't know exactly how the criminal indictment affects those civil suits, but I can't imagine it makes them any weaker. So we'll have to see, and we will be covering that. There's a number of other ones, all of them covered in Diddy Do It. Now we covered, and we're still kind of waiting for to have more on this FTC versus Tapestry and Capri. It's a handbag merger. The FTC saying that there's a accessible luxury market, a defined market of accessible luxury handbags between $500 and $1,000. Now, the 60 Minutes did a big piece on Lina Khan. It was very interesting, but I really was expecting them to get into. They talked about detractors, but they didn't zero in. They went with all the bigger picture, Kroger, Albertson. And they also didn't mention, for example, in terms of the commitment to fighting anti-competitive mergers, Capital One Discover. So this is the contrast to me, that they're going after the handbags, but Capital One Discover, I don't know what's going to happen, but we're watching that closely because that seems to be a bigger problem. I don't know, maybe it's just me and my handbag situation. But now, I don't know what to say about it yet. It hasn't really started. Tomorrow, Biden will speak, various heads of state. It's called the general debate. It's basically just blowing wind, 20 minutes apiece. There's been over the weekend something called the Summit of the Future. It's an attempt to sort of get away from the failure of the UN. I mean, witness today. Today, as the UN is pontificating and bloviating, and Antonio Guterres is like having these fake sit-downs with youth to say how much he cares about youth when he's been in power there for like 8 years and done in any event. Meanwhile, blasting away, the blue line between Israel and Lebanon is aflame. So we're going to cover it. We did a couple certain things so far. The failure to mention human rights in Zimbabwe, the absolute ludicrousness of Justin Trudeau and Bob Ray with their big sit-down with Guterres. Bob Ray blocks Inner City Press on X, formerly known as Twitter, as they say. And Justin Trudeau, before Inner City Press was banned from the UN, said, "I'm not going to take your question about arming Saudi Arabia. It's bad behavior to ask those questions." He had his own media that he brought with him. And that's what you're going to see this week. A lot of these guys bring their own in-house guys and sort of try to use the UN as a backdrop for what's essentially advertising. Now, there's something happening this week, and I have to say, this is going to speak for itself, hopefully. FTX, and again, this is not news per se. To steal and then squeal works with these prosecutors. To squeal and then seal seems to work with the court. With time served assured, the proceeding is not adversary. It's fixed. The only academic question is whether the duty to squeal continues post-appeal. If advice of counsel works, and there is a second trial, we'll be there to cover it. But who else will be to testify? Okay, innercitypress.com, going into the court. To be continued.